strippers of Reddit. What's your weirdest story while working? I had a customer whose wife had committed suicide after a long battle with depression. He would buy multiple champagne rooms once a month and share stories about her. The funny look she'd give him sometimes when he told a flat joke. The way he loved how she twirled her hair. How they met. Her favorite food. Etc. Hours and hours of crying and sharing memories about this woman he loved so dearly. It was weird because it was so pure. I'm actually getting a little choked up now thinking about it. He loved her so damn much. So damn much. That breaks my heart. That is literally my biggest fear, no joke. Yeah, I don't have a wife, but I'm actually scared of losing one. Yeah, same. The idea of putting in so much love and energy into someone and just losing them suddenly is extremely horrifying to me. Not a stripper, but owe my life to one. Used to work at a strip joint as head of security. One of the girls, they called me little brother, so I called them girls, said one of the patrons was creeping her out. We made creepy. We are talking Scooby-Doo creepy. Dude leave. Girl then asked for someone to walk her to the car as she had a bad feeling. I said I would as I was not busy. I went out first, checked around, and did not see anyone in the parking lot. Went and got the girl and started to walk her to her car. Creepy dude came out from the dumpster. I did not see him in time and he smacked me in the back of the head with a fan brick. I go down to both knees. I hear high-pitched girly screams. I'm trying to get to my feet, clear the cobwebs. Thankfully I have more bone than brain. Only to find the girl smashing the creep's head into the ground. After she literally crushed ONR of his testicles with her foot. She said he was trying to smash the brick into my head a second time when she went on the offensive. Did a hell of a number on him. Holy yes. It's why to this day I do not know why people want to mess with a stripper. The ladies can kick summer if they need to, not to mention the bouncers. General rule, don't mess with anyone who can make a living from pole dancing in heels. One of our old dancers passed away 10 years ago in a drunk driving accident. Every holiday her mom and some of her church friends come into the club and pass cookies and jewelry to girls in memorial. We love our sweet church ladies. I'm one of 5 secular musicians who plays music at the same church as a side hustle. And I gotta say, there's a pretty decent number of decent, non-judgmental folks at some churches. There's a pretty decent number of decent, non-judgmental folks at some churches. These churches would be where Jesus would hang out. If he were here today, he'd be flipping S over at the judgmental mega churches. He would loathe Jodestein. Don't we all? Oh god, I have plenty of weird S. That is all kinda tied for weirdest. My first customer ever, my manager talked me into going up to. He wanted a peep show. Basically where you charge anything you want as a fee up front and you'll go down this little hall and enter a room that's divided by a big mirror covered with a curtain. It's supposed to be one way, but you can definition see the guy. There's vinyl benches in both rooms as well as an old-fashioned wall phone. The guy puts money in a machine and the curtain on the one-way mirror goes up to reveal, tada, you. And then you both pick up the phone and you basically dirty talk and put on a show, striptease, or whatever, while the guy jerks it. The curtain only stays up for a few minutes, so he has to keep putting money in, and the point is to drag it out as long as possible. And it started relatively normal, and then he started talking about all this weird bestiality s. And do I watch my parents f? I couldn't do it and ended up bailing. While all my coworkers and managers laughed at me because he was a regular and they knew he was a strange one. It was my initiation, and before I understood the just go along with it for the money thing that you do sometimes lol. Plus I was horrified to realize you could definition see the guy jerking it and all the gross cum stains on the mirror. Second club I worked at, I had this super nice straight-laced lawyer that would come in and often paid me just to talk and relax while he had some drinks, and I actually really liked him because he was super smart, well spoken, and we had great conversation. When he'd want to dance though, he'd get one of the bigger rooms and all he wanted was to take his shirt off and for me to flick and twist his nipples while I danced. Didn't want me dancing on him. Didn't touch himself or anything. Would literally go just from me touching his nipples. It was different, but the money was great and he was a nice dude. Also had an extremely large dude that used to come in and would never say a word to me. just showed me money and pointed towards the back. Honestly, I never wanted to go because he was so big. I just didn't know what to do really. It's not like I could straddle him because he was so large. I'd basically be grinding on his stomach, which I thought was weird. Anyway, he never ever spoke a word to me, and I'd always dance standing in front of him and just do a slow striptease kinda thing. He always sat on his hands with a blank look, tipped pretty well, and that was it. Also worked with a girl who clearly had a death wish. BC, she'd leave with random guys all the time and often would come in asking to borrow panties. BC, she'd bum rides from guys in exchange for sexual favors and would be extremely graphic about how cum soaked her panties were and how she needed a new pair for work. IDK, why she wouldn't just pack an extra pair or, you know, not do that. But the S that came out of her mouth and the things she did, incredibly strange. Edit. Also, BC, I read the comments and some of the injury stories. This particular club was smaller, and around the front of the stage was a half circle bar where guys could sit at, and then the rest of the front room was tables and chairs. The bar part connected with the stage, so often girls would crawl around / lay on the bar or whatever, and then obviously get up close to shake their tits or for whoever tipped. Had a bunch of drunk college dicks come in one night who all sat at the bar and kept throwing change at the girl on stage. DJ warned them and they stopped, except one guy who kept trying to pelt her with pennies. Manager came and said if he did it again, they were all out. Manager goes back to the bar but is watching them close. Guy does it again, and before the manager even begins to walk over, the girl snaps, loses her S and beats the F out of him with her shoe. I was in the back at the time, but they had to call an ambulance for him, and it was a big deal. She had been near him on the bar when he did it, so she initially kicked him in the face and then ripped her shoe off. Basically tackled him, so he fell backwards in his chair and just went at him with the heel. Couldn't see anything. BC, all the commotion and the security guards were trying to get all the girls in the back / keep the girls that were already in the back there and wouldn't let us on the floor, but heard what happened from girls that were on the floor at the time after. If you're throwing fucking pennies at anyone, you deserve to get the S beat out of you with whatever kind of shoes they're wearing. So fun fact, in Alberta this is actually a 100% normal thing in strip clubs. It's usually loonies, dollar coins. We don't actually have pennies here in Canada, but the dancer will take a poster and make a tube out of it and hold it so it's a goal in front of her naked V. Usually then the guys sitting in Perv's row are supposed to throw loonies to try and get them into the tube. If you score in the hole, you win the poster. I've read an article before where the dancer said you start to be able to tell when someone's cheap throwing quarters because they sting different when they hit. Hit club. Guy who was a celery farmer came in and gave us all 3 bags of celery. There was also candle guy, worked at a candle factory and would bring in the reject. Supposedly other farmers with various free foods would come in, but I only got hooked up with celery and candles. The only appropriate way to stalk a stripper. I was the bartender at a strip club for a few months once. I have seen and heard some crazy stories. Classic strip club stuff. But this one time, a customer brought in her pet parrot to the bar. I obviously spent the rest of my shift talking with the parrot. His name was Pickle. He tipped me $1. He was a real gem. Man. Getting tipped $1 by a parrot. I'd frame it.